Good morning, my friends. Today, it's a gray, coldy day. There's a little bit of snow on the ground, so I guess it snowed earlier, either today or last night, which is nice. I like the snow. I'm generally a fan of it. I'm not a fan of too much snow, obviously. Then it gets a little bit chaotic, and then there's some issues. It's generally hard to get to places, and the big problem is when they start putting salt down on the roads, and that destroys your shoes, etc. So that's kind of the other aspect of it that I'm not quite a fan of. But I still like snow together. It still looks nice aesthetically wise. It's a nice shift from a cold brown November landscape, so to speak. So today I'm going to be talking about specifically yesterday. Yesterday I wasn't able to do Mornings with wosX segment because I was up at around 3:30 this morning. Had to go and work as an extra in a World War II film, which is why I have the styling now. I think I'm going to keep the mustache just because I feel like a mustache is a nice look in this current era. I think the mustache is coming back in a weird way. Although it's a little bit thin right now. I kind of have this, boyish crustache thing going on, which I'm not a fan of. Hopefully it'll thicken out a little bit and not look as pathetic. But it's starting to come in, a little bit wispy here, but that's okay. So working as an extra, and we'll talk about that in a little bit of detail. I got there, I met at the bus pickup at around 4:30 yesterday morning. We get in there, they take you to the studio, which is a little bit outside of the industrial section of Montreal. It's where all the factories and old rundown factories still remain to this day. It's a very kind of I'm not going to say bleak, but it's definitely it's very industrial. It's basically what it's all about. So we go there, and you basically go into hair and makeup. They made me shave. I already got a haircut, so I didn't really need to do that. They just trimmed my sideburns really short, and that was pretty much it. And then they put me in makeup. Makeup was interesting. The main thing, they did a little bit of makeup on my face. Mostly it was just dirt, making my face kind of dirty looking. They really focused on my hands. You can't see it obviously because I washed it off, but they really went to town on my hands. Is probably the point where they put the most effort in. They put dirt on my knuckles, they put grime underneath my fingernails, all this kind of weird detailing stuff, which I was kind of feeling weird. If I ever went to the bathroom, I had to wash my hands. I tried to be careful not to wash off the makeup on the surface, which was kind of weird, but it's kind of an interesting thing, the interesting set to detail. I had my costume fitted, so I spent the whole day in costume, which was a long day. I got out at around 8 p.m., so I was there from around 5 a.m. till 8 p.m., so that's around 15 hours working. Well, working, I should say that lightly because I didn't do anything the whole day. You get selected, they put you out on the line, they say, all right, and then they do their little a roll call type of thing, roll call procedure. And they bring you downstairs to the studio, and that was the highlight of the day, was being able to be in the studio and seeing the set. I actually signed a disclosure agreement. I don't know what the specificities of it were, so I'm not going to go into details of what I saw exactly, but I will say it was a nice set, very well put together. But for the most part, I didn't do anything. I go there, they select a couple guys that the director wanted, and then everyone else is all right, go wait outside, we'll see what else we can do with you. And then so that was basically it, and that was the end of my day, so to speak. And then they put you in the hallway. We sat on these chairs waiting for us to be called to do something. We sat there for several hours. eventually I did get to do something. I wasn't acting anything. I was just photographed because they were going to do a CGI scan of my body to use for later for special effects and background shots, etc. And that took about like 20 minutes, and then you go back to the little waiting area, and then yeah, I just sat there the whole day, and then we had lunch. Then we got to sit around in catering, which is a little bit better. The hallway that we sat in was just like a big gray wall, and we're all just staring at it for a very long period of time. We weren't allowed our phones. Luckily, I brought a book with me, so that sort of passed the time fairly well. I will say though, the food was very good. Like I want to emphasize it because the food was like it was like catering. The thing that made it really good is it's like surprisingly good. It's not like you go to a restaurant and it's like one of the like a very high end restaurant. It's obviously not at that level, but in terms of like catering, it was very good. And it's one of those things that's surprisingly, because when you get the food, it looks very like boring. It looks like cafeteria food you might remember from high school. It's not like aesthetically wise appealing. And you're kind of like we had for a snack, we had like 5 meals basically throughout the whole day, which is really cool. We had like for breakfast this BLT sandwich. It came on like this bagel sandwich type of thing. And it doesn't look like amazing. It's like, oh, all right, this is pretty good. And then you're eating it and it's like, oh, hell yeah, this is sick. This is amazing. And then the same thing happened. We got chicken fajitas around 10 o'clock. And again, you look at it, it comes in like tin foil. It's like that green tortilla, and you're kind of like, oh, yeah, whatever, chicken fajitas. It kind of sounds like high school lunch. It's probably not going to be that good. And I was eating it, and it was really good. Like, it was so good. And I normally don't really like that kind of meal. I don't know, like chicken fajitas with like sweet bell peppers. I'm not really much of a fan of that kind of thing. But for some reason at that time, it was just really good, and I was like on a lack of sleep. I probably only slept 3 hours the night before, had 2 cups of coffee when I woke up, and I normally don't drink coffee, so that was like, I was kind of like jittery a little bit throughout the first half of the day. And when I'm sleep deprived, I generally get very hungry throughout the day. Like I just can't stop eating. I guess it's just my body's way of like wanting to get resources to get energy so I can stay awake, so to speak. I did end up having a nap for about 30 minutes in the afternoon, but I don't know, it's hard for me to fall asleep in the middle of the day. So yeah, that was my experience. Would I do it again? I don't know. It depends on the circumstances. I would have really liked to be in the movie, like actually like act in it a little bit. Like I don't really want to line. I just kind of wanted to be on set and like, be a part of like the action. But most of what I was doing was just sitting around outside of it, not really being a part of anything, which is fine. I got paid. That's the name of the game. That's the job. But it feels like a waste of resources, so to speak. Like I was kind of like, you see why like so much money goes into films. Most of it's wasted on stuff like this. Like we had say like 20 extras. I think they only used today or like yesterday, they only used like 4 of them. So let's say around like 15 people that were pretty much useless yesterday. They weren't used for anything. And we count that by like, let's say like everyone was paid I think like $250. So that times 15, that's around like let's just say like $3,000, give or take $3,000 on nothing. Like it was just $3,000 just to not do anything. And that's the movie industry for you. You see how kind of money throws out. And then that's not even including the cost of the meals that we ate. We ate so much fucking food. There was so much food throughout the whole day. And that was like what made it like good. I also read a lot of my book. I read like 200 pages that day, which I was pretty happy about. I got through a big book. I'll probably review it at some point. I won't say what book it is right now because I don't have it like here in my vicinity, but I will review it. Overall, though, it was an interesting experience. you know, just being able to have a glimpse inside like a big production was definitely very cool to see. And you know, I definitely would do it again, maybe under different circumstances, or maybe not different circumstances. If I have to get up at 4 a.m. again, I probably wouldn't do it. I'm not much of a fan of doing that unless I kind of already have a good sleep schedule. Right now, I'm working nights, so it's difficult for me to change my sleeping schedule. But overall, I don't have any regrets doing it. Was a little disappointed I didn't get to act in it, but that's, you know, that's just life, right? So anyway, that's all I have to say for today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.